What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants. No hate. So I could post it up, but I'm not going to. I don't really want to go through this whole list. But every now and then, every so often, whenever the rankings go up, I check them. WBC, IBF, WBA, WBO, all that stuff. And I don't always talk about the rankings because truthfully, it's never anything really good to talk about. And the majority of the ranking systems, we don't really understand why these people are there. These people didn't earn it. They didn't earn it. You hear that all the time, right? Now, this video is basically about Francis Ngannou's ranking. Now, Francis Ngannou, who basically comes from an MMA background. I've seen him when he lost, and I've seen him when he's won. Okay. Francis Ngannou is ranked number 10 by the WBC. Okay. And like I always say, yes, they're all corrupt, but the WBC is the most corrupt out of them all. Why is Francis Ngannou ranked number 10? He didn't beat 10 people to become ranked number 10. He didn't beat 5, not 3, not 2. Okay? He didn't get the decision against Fury. And that's what people would say. Well, he really beat Fury. And Fury's the WBC champ. Yeah, I understand that. I know why they put him at number 10. Because of popularity's sake. Okay? They want him to be a part of, that same popularity that he got from MMA. Now, that's what he earned, was his MMA status. In terms of boxing, no. And I tell people this all the time. It's unfair to have boxers come up in this grind just to be overlooked because, yeah, he can fight, but he doesn't put asses in seats. Yeah, but he's not that popular. Even though he's a great fighter. Yeah, he has skills, but nobody really knows him. So basically they put him in at number 10. Put him. He didn't earn shit. Okay? Not to mention, he has a contract that he's signing with the PFL, which means once he is locked into these 4 fights, he's not going to be in a boxing ring for a while. So he wants to go with a big, paycheck. All right. Well, let's think about this. He skipped the line. You have other guys being overlooked, which is why there's often, animosity with other fighters because guys are just being put in certain places. Frazier Clark and Emmanuel Char is even ranked in the top 10 and by the WBC. And these motherfuckers, Emmanuel Char has some bullshit belt. And when was the last time you even heard that Emmanuel Char got in the ring? You understand? So we know it's corrupt. Now, we've been, pleased with what the Saudis have been doing. And Ngannou is going to be on there and in the fight with AJ is the headline fight. We know that. Why is he there? Money. Popularity. Now, I believe with the Saudis, of course, they call the shots. Now, they know who's who. And when they're talking to the Frank Warrens and Eddie Hearns and all these guys, whatever type of things that they're working out and trying to come up with the best possible solutions and scenarios. And these guys also having contacts with, other fighters and people in the States and all that type of stuff. So it's business. But this is why I say AJ needs to not just win, but destroy Ngannou to make people go, nah, I don't want to see this motherfucker in the boxing ring again, okay? Now, I can't fault Ngannou for taking advantage of an opportunity that he's given. Here's a guy, and only his second fight went from Tyson Fury to Anthony Joshua in 2 fucking fights. So, you got people out there dreaming to have that fight with AJ or Fury. And they can't get it. But see, let's look at it this way. Let's say Francis Ngannou didn't do MMA. Or let's say he did it, but he wasn't popular in it. And he came in to Tyson Dewey Cooper to be trained. And imagine him saying, yeah, I want Tyson Fury. Not just Dewey Cooper, not just Mike Tyson. Every personality in boxing would say, man, you can't just skip the line like that. I mean, you got fighters out here grinding, man. I mean, nobody knows you. And he could be better than what he actually is. But let's say he's the same Francis Ngannou skill-wise that he is right now. Don't you think they would tell him that, man? You can't just skip the line like that, man. You know, like we got fighters that's out here that's been doing this, man. I mean, Tyson Fury. You don't think you're biting off more than you can chew? You don't think they would have said something like that? Of course. But because of his MMA popularity and Tyson Fury and, you know, Warren and all them trying to make it seem like, you know, this guy's the next best big thing and talking about how this fight is bigger. You know, Fury and Ngannou was bigger than Fury versus Usyk. All of these things shitting on boxing, then even saying stuff like after he fights Ngannou, he's completely done with boxing. He's done all there is to do. I mean, all just stupid stuff that comes out of Fury's mouth. All of these things that was said, what was expected by with the exception of the MMA world that was crossing their fingers, but what was expected is that Fury was going to go in there and wipe the floor with Ngannou. And we know that that did not happen. So because that did not happen, and he managed to drop Fury, he basically, you know, stood there and held his own. And like I said, there was really much of nothing going on in that fight. Just a lot of posing, constantly, you know, slapping each other's hands, pump faking with the jab, and just throwing the same repetitive shit over and over. Okay? It really, nothing happened. Actually, one of the commentators, I remember that fight saying, this fight has already over-delivered. It was third round after he dropped Fury. No, the fight didn't over-deliver. You know, and I'm watching it. So that's the thing. When they're talking, they're saying things, and they play Jedi mind tricks on people that's watching, and you just repeat what they say. I'm watching this fight, and I'm seeing that Ngannou he doesn't belong in there. But Fury comes in there all fat, you know, like I said at the press conference, and he's playing with his belly fat and making a fool out of himself and making this circus show. And instead of going in there standing on business, he goes in there and takes this man lightly, flabby, fatter word. I mean, he looked terrible. He looked terrible. And he went there and he made an ass out of himself. Now, when I say I've always felt like AJ was better than Fury. I always felt like AJ was better than all these guys. He went through his down period. Now he's back up. And hopefully for him that he stays there. I always felt technically everything that he was better than Fury. Fury's strong points, like I said, was his legs. Moving, slipping, sliding, shit. Same thing. Fury doesn't throw a lot of punches. He really doesn't. And he spends the majority of the fight moving, running. And then at some point in the fight, he might try to throw, you know, try to load up a little bit. But it's never really an exciting full round of fighting from Fury. Never. So that being said, and I watch AJ, his smarts, his sharpness, everything, and I always felt he was better. I think stylistically, like I said, he fought Usyk wrong, and he was going through his lack of confidence situation. Now, you compare the fact that AJ went in there, fought the wrong fight, and got outboxed by a boxer when he's a boxer puncher and needs to stick to that. Fury went in there, got dropped, and basically was hesitant to come in because a guy has power, but no real experience, and is limited. Okay? So when I say Fury is not who y'all say he is, the guy can fight, but y'all overhype him and y'all make him seem like he's better than what he is, and you guys are talking about he would have beat Ali, he would have beat Holmes, he'd have beat, you know, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis. You guys are smoking crack. Like really, but that's irrelevant. So all of the hype, and of course the MMA world want to say he's the greatest of all time in boxing. Why? Because of his performance in there against Ngannou. Because if he's the greatest of all time and Ngannou really won, well, you know, childish minds, well, Ngannou's the greatest of all time. And that's what Ngannou was going going. That's what he's riding off that wave. So Ngannou's doing what anybody else would have done. Yeah, that's right. Y'all saw it. I'm the best fighter in the world. That's what he's doing. And so, yeah, it's AJ's job to go in there and put the nail in his fucking coffin. Bring the coffin and the nails. Seal this motherfucker up. Pack him up. Ship him out. Go to the PFL. Don't come back here. You know, and Ngannou is listen, like I said, he's doing his part. Hey man, shit, they offered it to me. I took it. Can't fault the man for that. But his ranking is like, why is he even ranked at all? Yeah, but he beat Fury. Why shouldn't he be ranked? Because he didn't do anything to even get that Fury fight in a boxing ring. He did what he did in an MMA ring. He's skipping over people that he can't beat. You understand what I'm saying? So, popularity sake. When Floyd fought McGregor, did you see Conor McGregor ranked? No. And what made it better is because Floyd wasn't even a champion. Fury's champion. You think he made close to what Floyd made? You think he even made close to what McGregor made that night, which was $100 million? No. So, for people, yeah, but McGregor was one and done. No, he was talking about fighting Canelo. He was talking, right, so they could have ranked him just to keep him, hey, listen, let's work something out, right? But no, this is my point. And people were still interested in seeing McGregor in the ring. Why? Yo, it took Floyd 10 rounds. See, I'm telling you, if he gets some more, like, all he needs is another fight and you know, work his way up. That's what people were saying. So why is it that Ngannou comes in and he has one fight and he's ranked number 10? Let's move him along faster. Okay, I know this is boxing, but screw those other boxers. They don't have the popularity. Let's push Ngannou and give him fights that they have to earn, but we're going to give it to him. And that's why I want to see him get packed up and shipped out. Now, if he came in and earned his keep and was grinding, even if you said, you know what, in fairness, you have a top 50, right? Let's say I fight 3 times a year for the next 3 years. This is my plan. 3, 4 fights. If I take no punishment, we in this soon. You know, bottom line. Let's push to make this happen. And basically, let's say you have these fighters who are ranked, but they've done nothing to be ranked. Okay? At least give this man, okay, a good, looking at his age, and they want to push him, at least give this man somebody from the top 20, okay, like from like 15 through 20, or say 20 through 15, you know, or 15 through 10. At least do it that way. Because the lower ranking guys, nobody even know who they are. And they're ranked, but they're not that good. Do you understand? Because what's going to happen is, at some point, you're going to run into a Daniel Dubois, an F.A. Ajaba, a Frank Sanchez, you know, a Jared Anderson. You're going to run into those guys. And I feel like you need to before you can call yourself fighting elite fighters. Now, people could say, yeah, but look at what happened. Yeah, but you guys do realize that Fury didn't take that shit serious. He didn't train like he was supposed to. And mentally, this motherfucker was all over the place because he really thought this was going to be a cakewalk. So even when he said, I don't think Ngannou was going to be that bad because the guy's, you know, he's been fighting. He's used to fighting 5-minute rounds and all that. Okay. And you knowing that and knowing he has a grappling background, but you still went there and fought the stupid strategy. You should have known, I'm not going to be able to muscle him around like I was doing Wilder. This dude, he knows the grappling. So that's not going to work. And I'm not physically stronger than him. And you see, he was throwing Fury all over the fucking ring, right? But you still went there and fought him the wrong way. So if you was that mastermind fighter, that sweet science technician that they try to make you, you would have easily figured out Francis Ngannou and understood what you were supposed to do, right? And he didn't do that. So that being said, yeah, It was Francis Ngannou doing his thing, but it was also bad Fury. And like I told you, Fury's not who you guys made him out to be. But he still should have been able to beat Ngannou without that much struggle. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the biggest thing with Fury is because even though he has all that size, Fury he's trying to escape the receipt of your shot before his shot. Like, as his shot's landing, he's already trying to pull back, and basically his punches look like slaps. Had nothing on his shots. So when you got to factor things in. You can't, and that's what people do. They're too lazy. It takes too much brain power to really understand what you're watching. You have to look at everything and understand why these things are happening the way they do. Okay, how a fighter feels come fight night, that's something that fighter knows better than us, because what he feels. But what we see, we know, okay, what he's not doing right, what he should be doing. Fury made Ngannou look better than what he is. Okay? Do you see how Fury's training for Usyk now? I bet you he won't come there against Usyk looking like he did against Ngannou. Yeah, Fury always is a flabby dude. He's never no solid, muscular dude, no, but he looked like shit. Even when the commentator said, don't be fooled by Fury. His body looks like a big bag of milk, but, the guy can fight. And he thought, yeah, my experience and what I know versus what he knows. Right, and this is the same guy that said Ngannou versus him is a bigger fight than him and Usyk. And he said Ngannou was a more dangerous opponent than Usyk, and Frank Warren backed him up on that. So, with all that being said, here's a guy with only 2 fights, ranked number 10 by the WBC. Not surprised. And also, here's a guy who only in 2 fights has fought 2 of the top heavyweights out there. And he's going to the PFL. So, what happens? He goes in and AJ knock him to the fucking moon. Do they just drop him down one spot? Are they trying to keep him around? Like, then what? Because the ranking systems suck as it is. And like I said, the fact that Fraser Clark and Manuel Charles, even there's others. And what gets me is when you see ranking systems and you see guys like Frank Sanchez and Daniel Dubois, like number 13 or something, it's 12. It's like, really? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? And then you see a guy with 1 fight ranked number 10. So if Tyson Fury decided he wanted to go to the PFL, the UFC, Bellator, whatever, he wouldn't crack the top 10. Popularity sake of nothing. He wouldn't crack the top 10. He would have to go in there and beat. He would have to go in there and beat. Now, if it's just okay, yeah, for the money, for the event, yeah, they go in there and, okay, let's put him in. But I'm talking about as far as ranking him. No, you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see that. And when it comes to business, let's just say even if he did, every MMA fighter in that top 10 would be calling his ass out to tear his ass up. Why? Let's get this motherfucker out of here. Hey, Dana, how the hell you put this man before me? What has he done? What has he done? He got in there with, say, John Jones for whatever, right? And John Jones wins, but basically Fury holds his own. Now you're going to stick him in there, and he hasn't earned shit. You guys are now is greedy. You're so greedy for money. Now you're going to start putting this guy in fights that we've yet to get. And then what? No, they want to tear his ass up, and that's what I'm saying. They're not going to go in there and play with Fury. They're not going to go in there with any boxer and play with them. Let's be real. Brock Lesnar came to the UFC based on popularity, but he had a wrestling background. See, that's what people forget. He had a wrestling background. He was a champion, okay, Olympic champion. He had a wrestling background. So Brock had that. He had to add his stand-up to his arsenal. And he doesn't do jiu-jitsu, judo, and that other stuff. So he basically is a striker with a wrestling background. So that's the combination that he uses. Brock is a big, strong dude. And you got to remember, Randy Couture, I forget the other guys. I know Frank Mir. Okay, he had His first fight was against Frank Mir. His second fight was the rematch with Frank Mir, which he beat him. And then he fought Randy on the third fight, and he got his title. So 3 fights in. Okay? But there's a connection in turn with Brock with the wrestling. But do you understand? In MMA, the one difference is these guys are champions before they get to 10 fights often. Often. What's different about the UFC now than its inception is that most of these fighters that's fighting now have been studying some type of martial arts since they was kids. Whereas before, they wasn't. They were like bouncers at a club or something, or just tough, guys that thought they could fight in the streets. And then you had certain guys that, and you saw the sport evolve, and you saw the fighters get better, more technical, more cerebral, and just all-out better fighters. So there's a difference. Now, CM Punk tried the same thing and thought he was going to have the same, fate as Brock Lesnar. No, CM Punk came there and got destroyed. He sucks as an MMA fighter. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is exactly what needs to, and let me add, Frank Mir and Randy Couture are considerably smaller than Brock Lesnar. Considerably smaller, not as strong. Brock basically did something where he thought he could just power out like he does in wrestling, right? And he tried to, like, when Frank Mir grabbed a hold of his leg, because he was fucking Frank Mir up, basically, and then Frank Mir got him in that ankle lock, and he couldn't get out, so he had to tap. But he tried and tried. He was trying to drag him and trying to just use brute force. But the rematch, he made him pay, and he just destroyed him. And it wasn't a lot. He was mostly on top of him, pounding him. It was mostly that with Brock, okay? And the point is, even though Brock was able to do that in 3 fights, as Brock went up that ladder, you saw the fights get tougher and tougher for Brock. You understand me? And I don't forget the sickness that he had, but it's obvious he got over it, because that sickness he had, if he still had it, he wouldn't be able to wrestle. So guys like Alistair Overeem, and I forget the other guy's name, that just beat his ass, is because they were just that much better than him. So that's what I'm saying. And that's what AJ needs to do. He needs to go in there, stand on business, get Ngannou out. Pack this motherfucker up, send him to the PFL. Okay? Simple. Now, that being said, for him to go to the PFL with a stellar performance against Fury or AJ, okay, or say if he was to win, then it's like, wow, we got a heavyweight that went in, So he held his own against Fury and got robbed. That's what they're going to say. And he just beat AJ, or went in and gave AJ a run for his money. So pretty much, if he goes in and loses to AJ, he'll be 0-2 in boxing. Now, you don't think that looks strange? Here's a motherfucker 0-1, but he's ranked number 10. We seen Lomachenko and Gary Russell fight, but Lomachenko's a boxer. He's a boxer. Had a very stellar amateur career, a lot of over 300 fights or something like that. He had a lot of amateur fights, so he had a lot of experience going into there. Gary Russell took him light. Gary Russell laughed at the fact you giving me a guy that only had 2 fights. I think he only had 2 fights when he fought Gary, 1 or 2. But I think he only had 2 fights. I remember Gary Russell saying it, and I think it was only 2 fights in. But bottom line is, here's a guy that can box, comes from a boxing background. And, a couple months ago, you guys remember, they had some MMA guy calling out Tank Davis' name and different fighters and Ryan Garcia and all. And it's like, man, these guys, see, here comes this circus shit. And to be honest with you, I hope the Saudis don't take this route to where now other popular MMA guys are calling out boxers and they want to jump in there just to get that check, because MMA guys don't make close to what boxers make. Because I just want this circus shit to end, honestly. Like I told you guys, I'm not interested in Ngannou versus AJ. This is a fight. I just want to see AJ get out the way. Like I said, just put an end to this circus shit. But here this guy comes with 2 massive paydays because of what he did in the MMA ring. You know, and that's why I use other sports for example, because the shit is like, I mean, just imagine whoever the best wide receiver is in football, okay, versus whoever the best shooting guard is in basketball. You know, here comes this guy making these ridiculous shots in basketball, do some amazing things, and wow, people, and all of a sudden they think that he can just go in there and be a better fucking wide receiver than you know, this football player or whatever. It's like, why would you want to see that, right? And I get it, yeah, and Ngannou's coming from a fighting background. Yeah, I get that. But like I said, it's not because he's boxing. I don't agree with this skipping the line shit. I just don't. I just don't. So, that being said, John, he's ranked number 10. And the fact that Frazier Clark is ranked in the top 10, the fact that fucking Manuel Char holds a belt and is ranked in the top 10. The WBC strikes again. So this is what I'm saying about Francis Ngannou. And yeah, he you know, like I said, he did what he had to against Fury. He did the best he could. I could still see how green he is, see his limit. I could still see even like he was breathing heavy often in that fight from not even throwing a lot of punches. And Fury wasn't able to make him, you know, push him to make him fight at a faster pace. He wasn't able to do anything. You know, but they're using Fury as, oh, look what Ngannou did to the best heavyweight. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, I didn't feel like going through all that, posting it up and showing. I mean, I didn't even care about the top 10. It's disgraceful as usual. It is what it is. But we stand up. I respect all these disciplines. I like watching all of it. But boxing's first. And AJ needs to handle this dude soundly. And after that, we see how things go. And more power to Ngannou. Good luck to him in the PFL. But we just need him to stay the fuck out of boxing. Because honestly, if you look at his age, I think he's 38, something like that. Remember? How much longer is he going to stay in boxing anyway, right? So the point is, he just be sticking around for a paycheck. And as long as he's able to go in there and compete and look halfway decent, guess what? We've seen similar things like with Kimbo Slice. He came from a street fighting background. And he came into MMA. And, you know, he was never overrated because Kimbo Slice himself said, I'm not an MMA fighter, man. I'm a street fighter. I'm just down to throw these hands. And he got super popular from YouTube alone. So now the fact that he came into an MMA ring, you know, Cage people it was huge anticipation. I want to see what happened when he connect on one of these dudes. And you know, they gave him the right guys like Tank Abbott, who had no stand-up whatsoever. And Tank Abbott is one of the UFC originals. He never could fight. He didn't know how to wrestle. He didn't know anything. Judo, Taekwondo, nothing. He knew nothing. He was just a street fighter. That's it. So he was the perfect person for Kimbo Slice. And the fact of the matter is, Tank was already washed up anyway. He's already a battered, washed up guy. So, you know, Kimbo Slice came in there and showed heart. He won, I think he won his first 2 or 3 fights or something like that. And when he finally lost a fight, you know, it happened early. And, you know, Kimbo was never a real MMA guy. And then Kimbo Slice started boxing. And that was super late in his career. And Kimbo Slice had stamina issues. So, point is, man, is like, certain guys can bring a certain excitement to the sport because they stand out a certain way for something that they did. Okay, but not grinding in that particular sport. It never ends well. You understand? You know, you can say, Kimbo can say, man, listen, I'm a guy that came up fighting for money in the streets, for chump change in the streets, to making big money. I fought MMA and I started boxing. And then we know he passed away. So, but yeah, I mean, just saying, man, like it never ends well, man. Like the steam that you get going in, they all go out bad. Brock Lesnar came from a wrestling background, then started doing professional wrestling. But my point, and look at his last fight, I forget the guy named, little short chubby guy. And that's when he actually tested positive for some type of steroid or something. So Mark Hunt, it was against Mark Hunt. And then, you know, he went back to wrestling. You know, Brock used to play football. He couldn't cut it in football. So, listen, guys, it's like what I'm saying to you. You can make a lot of money and become a big star. Okay, look at Ronda Rousey. As soon as she realized, damn, people done figured me out, they're not afraid of me anymore. Holly Holmes bust that ass and gave her first loss. And then Amanda Nunes did it to her. And it was like, okay, what did she do? She went straight to professional wrestling. Now, Ronda Rousey's like nowhere to be found, and she's on a decline. Do you think she can go back to MMA? No, she's not that same person anymore. In fact, she'd be a worse fighter than she was before she left. So it's either back to professional wrestling somewhere, or do she want to try to start acting or something, try to be some type of game show host, something, because that's usually what they try to do, stay relevant with some type of form of entertainment. But in terms of combat, where is she going to go? So imagine if Ronda Rousey decided she wants to box. That was the worst and weakest part of her game. Do you understand what I mean? And this is the same person. Remember, they was talking about, oh, she could beat Floyd Mayweather in a fight and all this bullshit and all this nonsense. So imagine if things don't go the way it's supposed to for her. Just say, for example, it doesn't go the way it's supposed to. Maybe Vince McMahon goes, the WWE says, hey, you know, we have a full roster, and I mean, we don't have anything for you right now. And she's like, man, I need to make some big money. I need to do this or that or what. Now, all of a sudden, you see a video. She's sitting next to Alicia Baumgartner saying, hey, if you won't fight her, fight me, Clarissa. Everyone knows I'll knock you out. Then all of a sudden, every YouTube channel, OMG, Ronda Rousey calls out Shields. Will she accept? I mean, I'm just saying. Now they put a little montage together showing her in MMA destroying people. Of course, they're not going to show the fight she lost. They ain't going to show that Holly Holmes and Amanda Nunes beat down. But they're going to show all this other stuff and talk about her success with the WWE and how she's this and that and what she accomplished. And if they think it's a big enough money fight, somebody will actually make this shit happen. Now, the women's division and no division in women's boxing isn't really deep at all. But again, if that was to happen, that would mean they're giving Ronda Rousey an opportunity because they feel like her star power combined with Clarissa's is going to mega event. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then they make all this storyline shit where, think about, I'm just saying, just saying. And then what? And listen, I'm pretty confident Shields would knock her the fuck out. That Ronda goes night-night. Ronda just, her stand-up sucks. She never was good at stand-up. And that's why anytime she tried to do stand-up, she'd be the first to clinch most of the time. Because her stand-up, that's the weakest part of her game. But just imagine that, right? And all of a sudden, you see over there training with Ann Wolfe or some shit, or Layla Ali, and everybody, oh shit, she got the real GOAT. Nah, yo, I ain't gonna lie, I think she gonna beat Shields, because this is how gullible boxing fans are. Like, seriously. And the fact that they know that this would be buzzing all over the place, that Ronda Rousey wants to fight Shields, like, stop it, y'all. This is what I'm saying. So, what I really want out of this more than anything, AJ versus Ngannou, like I said, I'm gonna say it again in closing, is that AJ beats the natural shit out of Ngannou, pack him up, send him to the PFL, never to be seen again, because at this stage in his life, he's not going to start boxing, earning his spot. He's about, where can I go and get big money? Don't be shocked if you see Ngannou pop up in a WWE ring, an AEW ring, on Impact Wrestling ring. Don't be shocked if you see that. I'm telling you guys, it's business. But I'm tired of this kind of shit. I'm tired of it. So it is what it is. Tell me what y'all think about Francis Ngannou being ranked number 10 by the WBC. And you guys know he has a contract with the PFL. If you don't know, now you do. At his age, you know he's not planning on sticking around boxing for a long time. That was never his intentions. And I think he was smart enough to say, he realized that he can do this and he wants to do this now and he's committed to boxing. No. He is committed to the big checks. And he knew if he said that, he'd get people respect. He knew that. But he's playing people like a fiddle. He's all about the money. Tell me what y'all think about this situation. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And I will catch y'all on the next video.